Milky Way pictorial card. Linus Book 11, Part 2. Xander, the galactic takeover. The battle for Earth. Chapter 1. The takeover continues. The galaxy had barely recovered from the Battle of Galactic. Mace Windu was gone. Jesse had returned to Linus' team. Ollie, however, was still fighting for Xander. And Xander's gang was getting stronger. Much stronger. Across the galaxy, planets were falling under their control. The first was Dosa. Ollie and Leo led the attack. The defenders tried everything they could, but Ollie and Leo pushed through their defenses and planted the Xander flag right in the middle of the capital. Dosa was officially under Xander's control. Then came Topsa. And this time, Xander himself wanted to lead the attack. But there was one problem. Topsa already had a ruler, a very famous one. His name was King John. Most people simply called him Big John. He was enormous, extremely powerful and famous for shouting, "BOSHH." Nobody really knew why, but everybody knew that when Big John shouted BOSHH, something was about to happen. Dark Crossed Swords. Chapter 2, Xander vs. Big John. Xander landed on Topsa with George Russell beside him. George stepped out of his F1 car. "Where are we?" Xander pointed towards a giant castle. "That's where King John is." George looked at the castle. "How big is he?" Xander shrugged. "Big." George nodded. "Helpful." Suddenly, the castle doors exploded open. Big John marched out. Boosh. George nearly fell over. "What was that?" Big John pointed towards Xander. "You have come to take my planet." Xander ignited his lightsaber. "That's exactly what I've come to do." Big John charged. The ground shook with every step. Boom, boom, boom. George looked down. "Are we sure this planet can handle him?" Big John swung his enormous weapon. Xander jumped over it. He landed behind Big John and attacked. Big John blocked. Xander attacked again. Big John blocked again. George watched for a moment. Then he got back into his F1 car. Xander looked over. "What are you doing?" George started the engine. "Helping." He accelerated. Vroom. Big John turned. "What is that?" George drove around him at ridiculous speed. Big John tried to hit him. He missed. George did another lap. Then another. Then another. Big John became increasingly confused. "Why does he keep going around me?" Xander shouted. "George, stop." George shouted back. "I'm trying." Eventually, George spun the car around and stopped. Big John charged towards Xander. Xander blocked the attack. The two fought across the castle courtyard, lightsaber against Big John's weapon. Neither would give up. Xander was eventually knocked backwards. He landed on the ground. Big John raised his weapon, but Xander suddenly stood. "You're strong." Big John smiled. "Of course I am." Xander charged. The final clash sent a shockwave across the entire courtyard. When the dust cleared, Xander was still standing. Big John had been defeated. The Xander flag was raised over Topsa. George climbed out of his car. "That was stressful." Xander nodded. "At least it's over." George looked at the destroyed courtyard. "Yeah." He paused. "Do we have to pay for that globe showing Europe and Africa?" Chapter 3, The Greg's Protectors. Back on Earth, Bob and Jamie were monitoring the galaxy. They were known as the Greg's Protectors. Their most important job was simple: protect Greg's at all costs. Jamie looked at the screen. "Bob." Bob turned around. "What?" "Xander's gang is getting closer to Earth." Bob immediately dropped his sandwich. "Not Greg's." Jamie shook his head. "Not just Greg's." He pointed at the screen. "Earth." The two looked at each other. Bob grabbed his spaceship keys. "Get the ship." Jamie nodded. "Already got it TV." Chapter 4, The News Goes Crazy. News stations across Earth began broadcasting reports. Galactic news. Breaking news, Xander's gang may be heading towards Earth. People panicked. Some shouted, "We don't want Xander as our leader." Others said, "Earth isn't going to survive." And one particularly passionate citizen shouted, "Great Gregs, please don't let them destroy Gregs." That became the biggest story of the day. Linus was watching the news. He slowly stood up. "We need to get to Earth." Archie nodded. "Agreed." Linus grabbed his lightsaber. "And we need to protect Gregs." Yoda sighed. "Of course, Rocket." Chapter 5, Everybody arrives. Bob and Jamie prepared their spaceship. The Jedi joined them. Linus joined them. Archie joined them. Milo joined them. Jim, Tyler, Jesse, Billy the Force Ghost, Obi-Wan, Yoda, Luke, Han Solo, C-3PO, R2-D2, and Cho. But Linus had one surprise. A new member. His name was Ash the Bash. Ash was in a wheelchair, but nobody underestimated him. Because Ash was a legend. Linus looked at him. "You ready?" Ash nodded. "I'm always ready." R2-D2 beeped. C-3PO translated. "He says you're both the GOAT." Ash smiled. "Correct." Globe showing Europe and Africa. Chapter 6, The Battle for Earth. The Xander gang arrived first. Xander, Leo, Ashton, George Russell, Kimmy Antonelli, Packer Macker, Gimpy Roundus, Ollie, and their new recruit, Thogden. Nobody liked Thogden, not even the Xander gang. He had somehow managed to annoy everyone within approximately 30 seconds of meeting them. Xander looked at him. "Why are you here?" Thogden shrugged. "I was invited." "You weren't." "Oh." Then he stayed anyway. The Jedi spaceship landed. Linus stepped out. Xander stepped forward. Jesse walked forward. Xander pointed at him. "Traitor." Jesse shook his head. "I'm no traitor." He raised his lightsaber. "You're evil." Ollie stepped forward. "You were brought back to life because of us." Jesse replied. "And you were manipulated by them." Ollie raised his weapon. "We'll make you regret leaving." Jesse smiled. "I'd like to see you try." Xander raised his hand. Attack Crossed Swords. Chapter 7, Ash the Bash. The first fight was between Gimpy Roundus and Ash. Gimpy charged. Ash simply waited. Gimpy punched. Ash moved his wheelchair out of the way. Gimpy missed. Ash spun around. R2-D2 rolled up beside him. BZZT. Gimpy jumped backwards. What are you two doing? Ash replied. Winning. Gimpy charged again. Ash moved. R2-D2 shocked him again. Gimpy fell over. He looked at Pakamaka. How are a wheelchair man and a robot beating me? C3PO proudly answered. Because they're the goats. R2-D2 beeped. Ash nodded. Exactly explosion. Chapter 8, Linus, Archie and Yoda vs. Xander. Across the battlefield, Linus, Archie and Yoda surrounded Xander. Archie attacked first. Xander blocked. Yoda attacked from behind. Xander turned and blocked again. Archie kicked him backwards. Xander recovered immediately. Yoda raised his hand. The force pushed forward. Xander resisted. Linus charged. Boom. His belly bounce sent Xander flying backwards. Archie stared. He didn't even sing. Yoda nodded. Powerful, he has become. Xander crashed through several rocks. He stood up. He was coughing. He wiped the dust from his face. You think that's enough? Linus smiled. No. Then he started singing. He's big, he's fat, he loves a bacon bap. Linus, Linus. The power surged. The ground shook. Everyone nearby looked up. Xander barely had time to react. Linus charged. Boom. The shockwave sent rocks flying. Xander was launched backwards, but he recovered in midair. He landed, then immediately charged back. He jumped towards Linus. Linus blocked the first attack. Xander swung again. Linus ducked. Archie attacked from the side. Xander blocked him. Yoda used the force to pull Xander backwards. Xander resisted. Archie kicked him. Linus charged. Xander dodged. For several minutes, the three heroes attacked from different directions. Xander blocked everything. Then he suddenly jumped towards Linus. Whack. He struck Linus across the face. Linus staggered. Archie shouted. Linus. Linus looked up. That was rude. He grabbed Xander. Xander struggled. Linus lifted him, and threw him into the sand-crossed swords. Chapter 9, Milo, Jim and Tyler. Nearby, Milo, Jim and Tyler were fighting Leo and Ashton. Jim charged. He knocked Ashton backwards. Milo attacked Leo. Tyler joined in. For a moment, the three had the advantage. Then Jim charged forward. Belly bounce. The impact sent Leo and Ashton flying backwards. They crashed into the rocks. Tyler ran towards them, but Leo suddenly recovered. He raised his lightsaber. A powerful strike knocked Tyler down. Milo and Jim rushed over. Tyler had been badly hurt. Jim shouted, Tyler. Milo turned towards Leo. You've made a mistake. He charged crossed swords. Chapter 10, Pakamaka's Last Stand. Pakamaka was surrounded by Jesse, Han Solo and Obi-Wan. Pakamaka fought desperately. Han fired. Paka dodged. Obi-Wan attacked. Paka blocked. Jesse attacked from behind. Paka turned. For a while, he managed to hold them off. Then Ash arrived. R2-D2 rolled beside him. Ash looked at Paka. You picked the wrong day. Paka charged. Ash moved. R2-D2 fired his electrical attack. Paka stumbled. Obi-Wan knocked his weapon away. Paka fell. His fight was over. The Xander gang had lost another member race car. Chapter 11, George Russell's F1 battle. George suddenly saw Han Solo. Hey. Han turned. George jumped into his F1 car. The engine screamed. Vroom. Han jumped behind a rock. George raced around him. Han fired. George dodged. Kimmy joined the fight. The two F1 cars raced around the battlefield. George accelerated. Han fired again. The blast struck George's car. Boom. George's F1 car spun out. It skidded across the ground and crashed. Silence. George climbed out. He looked at his destroyed car. My car. He looked furious. Then he looked at Han. You're paying for that. Han shrugged. I don't think I am. George charged crossed swords. Chapter 12, The Final Push. The battlefield had become enormous. Lightsabers flashed everywhere. Blaster fire filled the air. Jesse fought Ollie. Luke fought Bogdan. Obi-Wan fought Ashton. Archie fought Xander. Yoda fought Xander. Linus fought Xander. Jim fought Leo. Milo fought George. Tyler was being helped away from the battlefield. C3PO was trying to find somewhere safe. R2-D2 was still fighting. Ash was somehow winning. And Billy the Force Ghost floated above everyone. I really should have brought a whistle. Dart explosion. Chapter 13, Linus and Jim. Linus looked across the battlefield. Jim stood beside him. They nodded. Ready. Jim smiled. Let's do it. The two charged. Linus began singing. He's big, he's fat, he loves a bacon bap. Linus, Linus. Jim charged alongside him. They jumped. Boom. The combined impact created an enormous shockwave. Xander, Ollie, Gimpy Roundus, George Russell, Kimmy Antonelli, and Thogden were all blasted backwards. The remaining members of the gang flew through the air. They disappeared over the horizon. The Jedi stared. Linus looked around. Did we win? Yoda nodded. For now. Milky Way pictorial card. Chapter 14, The Great Escape. The Jedi searched everywhere. They found no sign of Xander, no Ollie, no Gimpy, no George, no Kimmy, no Thogden. Eventually, they assumed the gang had escaped the galaxy. The Jedi returned home. Football restarted. Billy the Force Ghost became referee again. Linus went back to eating footballs. Archie and Milo started arguing over who was the better team. Everything seemed peaceful, but they were wrong. Ringed Planet. Chapter 15, The Secret Planet. Far away, beyond the known galaxy, a small spaceship crashed onto a mysterious planet. Inside were Xander, Ollie, Gimpy Roundus, George Russell, and Kimmy Antonelli. Kimmy's F1 car had survived. Barely. George looked at it. We can rebuild it. Xander nodded. Good. Ollie looked towards the horizon. What now? Xander smiled. We build something bigger. Gimpy looked confused. Bigger than what? Xander pointed towards the ship. A new army. Kimmy looked at the F1 car. And a new car. George smiled. Now you're talking. Xander looked towards the stars. They think they've won. He paused. They haven't. Behind him, the 5 survivors began constructing their secret base. Nobody in the galaxy knew where they were. Nobody knew what they were building. And nobody knew how powerful they were going to become. Back on Earth, Linus was playing football. Billy the Force Ghost blew his whistle. Full time. Linus looked at the score. Who won? Billy smiled. Nobody. Linus nodded. Fair enough. He picked up a football and ate it. But far away, Xander activated the first machine. Beep, beep, beep. The machine came alive. Xander smiled. The Xander gang will return. Where could Thogden be? Big John will return. Milky Way pictorial card. To be continued.